my house is right behind this church. I live right there. But this one we built 2007, and this is utilized as a pre-engineered steel building. And this is the worship center here, and this is the office classroom part out here. It's not unlike the floor plan that we're coming up with for your site. And this is just one that we've done, and it uses a pre-engineered steel building. We also have masonry on this, and we have some decorative panel on here. This is Ford Road Bible Church. This is in Baltimore County. This is also two pre-engineered steel buildings, and then of course we have masonry here connecting the two buildings. This has a sanctuary, full gymnasium, kitchen, classrooms. This was a brand new church out of the ground also, as was Mount Airy. This is a brand new church out of the ground. This is Green Ridge Baptist Church.
That's your church.
Yep, hooray for those Baptists. This is my church. I'm a member of Green Ridge Baptist. And you know what? Well, I got to tell you guys, it's really interesting to know that I'm big in evangelism. Okay, so it really touches my heart to recognize that the work of the Baptist missionaries going overseas is why you guys are sitting here. And as a result of that, I am personally extremely blessed to be in your company. And I'm not saying this to impress you. I'm telling you what's in my heart. Because as a result of what God has done, we now get to be a piece of that. Okay? And what you guys will do for the generations underneath of you. And it's a huge thing to be a part of the body of Christ, and how big the body of Christ is. Yeah. Unlike you guys, the body of Christ is really big. Yeah. I always tease them. Anyway, so here we have Green Ridge. This is a pre-engineered steel building also, sitting on top of a masonry lower level building. And here we have a gym floor, a wood gym floor, cushioned wood gym floor, professional gym floor. This is multi-purpose area. We use this area for worship, two worship services every Sunday. We use it, as you can see, for dining. Here it's set up to seat 600 in dining. The kitchen is right back in there.
Then the stage is there.
The stage, yes. The stage, yes. The stage is there.
Multi-purpose thing.
It
is multi-purpose?
Yes.
Multi-purpose.
Excuse me. Mahi email kan ko chang ha. Kan zok athalai ti jang ti chang mahi thong thong pa ti mi chi kasi multi-purpose ni cho. Mahi stage an hang ko cho. Mahi si ko cho hi ron tum ti na kan ngai. Ka ti an mang ma ke basketball mang ko. Chudan tu kan cheleng mang. An ma ngri ta bu si akademi cho kan pastor zo hen in tong thalai e kan di. Nan du chan ko nan zo kho. Kan zo pin halai.
Yeah, we have to see.
Multi-purpose an ma.
Yes, okay, Fred Glassbach, it's not that far.
Sang pasari pagin nan zong kan zo pi ko kun halai. Ama hi se ko. See, okay. In multi-purpose ti ma ba kasi ko hi stages ito.
How many square feet that one?
Okay.
The addition was 32,000 feet, I believe. 30,000.
There's a big one.
30,000.
Yeah, there's
30,375. So it's almost 3 times larger
yeah.
than what you're looking
Right.
at.
How about your congregation members?
We have about 600. And you'll notice here we have here it's used for basketball, it's used for volleyball, it's used by there's a local Roman Catholic school nearby that doesn't have a gymnasium, so they bring their kids there, but this is for their gymnasium. We use this building, definitely use it 30 days a month.
Right.
And that's on months that only have 28 days.
Right.
So no, this is used every day.
Yeah.
And so it's really a trend in a lot of churches today because, as you well know, building construction is not inexpensive. Therefore, the churches are being forced, you could say, to use their buildings for multi-purpose. Because a sanctuary that's only used one day a week is a lot of money for that space. And not only to build it, but to heat it and cool it and maintain it and all that. So it's becoming a trend in America. Now, here what you'll see, this is your heating and air conditioning systems here. The equipment sits out on the roof, and the ductwork runs up above like this in the spiral duct. This is an inexpensive way to have the open ceiling like this, and frankly, it works fine. Now, let's go to their plan.
As you said, inexpensive or expensive?
Inexpensive.
Expensive.
Monthly,
Okay,
they say.
okay. The air conditioning.
Anyway, say it again.
But is it the way of inexpensive or expensive?
Well, this building, on a scale of things, is more inexpensive than other buildings.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
right. What makes this building a little more expensive is that we have this special floor here.
Oh, okay.
And that's a special cushioned gym floor, so that if you jump on it,
Right.
it's fresh.
Right.
Okay, it's a professional gym floor.
What you mean that pre-engineered steel building? You mean by that ready-made wall? And
No,
All of this is pre-engineered steel building. So it's a steel frame
Right.
with steel Z channels that make the wall framing and the roof framing, and then metal panels that go over that.
But inside the wall is a different
Inside
wall.
the walls are drywall.
Drywall.
All this is faced out with drywall.
I see.
yeah. Now, and up here you see the exposed ceiling. You see here, these are your roof purlins, these are your main frames, these are your roof purlins, and it would have metal panel on top, and here's your insulation. You can see the insulation here in between the purlins.
Here insulation in the steel and drywall too?
Yeah.
Insulation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now with the new building code,
Right.
we have more insulation in the ceiling than we do in this building.
Yeah. Right.
So we have to, they raise the requirements, so
Right.
the face of the insulation is on the bottom of the framing members, the purlins. So when you look at the ceiling, you'll see a continuous vapor barrier.
Alright. Okay.
The steel roof is has a 20-year weather-tight guarantee on the roof itself.
Okay.
So these are very good buildings
Steel
from that
roof.
standpoint, and a 20-year finish guarantee on the panel coloring. So now here you see we also have some masonry here. This being the entrance, and here's some panel here. This is metal panel, but it looks like stucco. So it's a stucco finish. So there's a variety of things we can do with the steel buildings, and almost always we blend the steel and the masonry. And you'll see here, again, we have steel and masonry together, masonry walls, and here we have
We have a steel facade, a vertical facade, then we have wall panel, that's a shadow wall panel, and then there's masonry up to the windowsill. So you have a durable surface for when they're mowing and maintaining the yard, so you're not hitting the panel and chipping them and causing them to rust.
now. Okay, to get to your building, proposed, we looked at two different drawings that y'all provided us, and then we looked at the available square. Yeah, that's the drawing there that the pastor had done.
Two different sketches here. Both of them have a wall between the sanctuary and the fellowship hall that could be moved out of the way.
Okay.
That means that you could potentially seat that whole area for the sanctuary. That may be nice for growth, but it's a killer for design. Because they'll make you put parking in for that whole thing. And we don't have that on the site. We only have parking for 350 people.
So you can't seat more than 300. Both of these uses, as I was explaining to you earlier, are classified under the building code as an assembly use. Okay, and basically, if all of this were used for worship, it would require one parking space for every 4 people. Or is it 3?
Every three.
1 and 3. Yeah. So if you had 700 people, divide that by 3, you've got 250 parking spaces, and you don't have it. Right. And so you can't do it. So what the county is going to say to you is, and you're going to say, well, look, this is fellowship and this is
Right.
sanctuary, and they're
Right.
going to say, if you can, you will.
And that's the exact words that Jim Hobson used to me. He said if they can use both areas simultaneously, they will.
Jim was from the county.
Yeah, it's from the county.
Because
Jim
they-
Hobson is a building plans reviewer, and he's by the book.
And they know that that's classic. For example, you could have sanctuary here, and this could be an overflow area, and you could have a screen back here and speakers and all that, so that the worship service could be conducted here at the same time.
And how about the glass? Yeah.
Well, see, it's the same thing. If you put glass there, they know what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, you're trying to make a bigger auditorium and call it 2 rooms, is what it is, and they know that. So it's not going to happen. I mean,
So alternative. Yeah.
I met with our architect that we're proposing to use for your project.
Okay.
His name is Roger Schroeder. It's not going to be Stan. Stan backed away from the project. So it's Roger Schroeder. His company name is Architectural Concepts Group. He's located up just above Newmarket, between Newmarket and Frederick. So he's more local.
yeah, we're doing other work with him.
Good.
Yes.
Good. So
And he's very familiar with churches, because he does a lot of other churches too.
So one of the things in looking at your sketches was when you come in the front door, you're in the fellowship hall.
Yeah.
And then when you go from the fellowship hall, you go through that to get to the sanctuary. And that will give the plans reviewers a lot of angst or trouble to approve your exiting and entrance out of the facility. So we looked at trying to make every space efficient in what we're using. So we laid out a facility where you come in the front door, and then you can go left and go in the fellowship hall, or you can make a right and go into the sanctuary. This sanctuary is roughly 70 by 70, or seat 350 people.
70.
The fellowship hall is the smaller one.
So that means square 10 square foot per person,
Oh, yeah, well.
or 9 or
actually,
11.
No, that would give you 14 square foot a person. If you take this is
Okay, 14 square
4,900
foot.
square feet. 4,900 square feet, 70 by 70. 4,900, divide that by 350, you'll come up with 14.
Yeah, because
So that
I
means
allowed
70,
70 by 70.
70 by 70. Okay.
It's 4,900.
49 means 14.
4,900 square feet. Divided
4,900,
by
yes.
4,900 divided by
350.
350 square feet.
So-
350 people.
No, I mean per person.
14 square feet per person.
Okay, I got it.
But that
I
includes the
think-
platform, the choir, and the music area. So if
Yeah,
you take
14
those
square
areas
feet
off,
is too big.
Okay.
then it
Pass,
works
I want.
out.
But remember that. Remember this.
14
You're
square
gonna have at least a center aisle here.
Right,
You're gonna
right.
have a platform. You're gonna have a choir. You're gonna have musicians and things like that. So in reality, it won't be 14 square feet.
Right.
It'll be 10, but it'll be comfortable.
See,
You
pin
can,
pit
you can comfortably put
Right.
350 people in, okay? And that's a given, and that's what we started out with is
14, yeah.
the design. Right, we have a fellowship hall, which is 35 by 70. Well,
Plus or minus. We cut down on the depth of this a little bit to make the bathrooms and these other rooms work.
All right, so it's 34 by 65. So,
Oh, 34 by 65.
yeah. And that puts that at 10 square feet a person.
About 245.
Yeah, about 225.
Yeah, 245. See, this is some of the panga.
2210 245. Okay. That's it.
All right, now then, what we did is take your other needs. You'll notice on that drawing that you had this building here, and then you wrapped around with some other things here.
Right.
Okay. We found a way to this is a budget-driven project. Okay. We understand that you have a limited amount of money. Our job is to squeeze everything you want into a building that you can afford. Because at the end of the day, the only thing we're going to build is what you can afford. We all understand that. So now what we have to do is take this and say, okay, how can we make this more efficient? How can we, well, one way is if we could squeeze all this in one, a square is a very efficient design. Those of you that understand geometry, the most efficient design is a circle. You get more interior area for the wall space, but we don't build circles because they're too difficult to build. So a square gives you the least amount of wall space to get the maximum amount of floor space. So that's why one reason this ended up as a square. The other reason is because you have a limited defined area on that site plan to build on. So we want to make sure we build a very efficient design so that we're not wasting space with a wing here and a wing here and that kind of stuff, okay? So what we did is consolidate this pattern here, this floor plan, and put it all in here.
Right.
Now, what we end up with is putting in the classrooms that you had, the library.
How many classrooms do you have?
We have 4 classrooms, plus a library,
Right.
2 offices, a men's, women's, and a family toilet, and a warming kitchen.
Okay, good.
A janitor's closet. And then we had to add a sprinkler room because the building has to be
Right.
sprinkled. And we had to add an
Electrical room. Yeah. Sprinkler room.
So we have sprinkler room, electric room. The one thing you still have you have a fair amount of limitation here is storage. Now, you may want to, as we get into the design, down here, for example, where we want to put some table and chairs. Right, because you have to be able to store these tables and chairs when you're not using them. So that means instead of seating 245, maybe you seat 225, because we've got to build some storage space in there. That would be for dining.
Okay.
But we'll work through that. We'll work through how much storage space you need and include that in here, okay? The kitchen, of course, serves directly into the fellowship hall. Convenient access for the kitchen outside here so that you can bring the trash in and out, that sort of thing. It's a convenient layout. The other thing we did, we were sensitive to put all your classrooms where you can have windows in every classroom. There's no interior rooms here. And your library, you have windows there. So all your classrooms, one office has windows. This is an entry vestibule here, not unlike what you see here. Okay?
Yeah, it's a bump out right on the front from the front doors. So there's a chamber there. You come through one pair of doors, go through a chamber, and then there's another pair of doors. So the cold air doesnesn't rush in where the hot air is.
And that's a requirement based on the square footage. And also, this gives you a nice wide lobby in here. Now, what does that mean? You can put bulletin boards here. You can put tables here with literature, bulletins, everything you want, right out here. You'll have room to do that and still have people passing back and forth. The other thing about this design, you'll notice there's not a lot of corridor space wasted in here. Everything, these are double-loaded corridors. In other words, there are classrooms and rooms on either side of the corridor. Every corridor, there's no long wasted space in corridors. The corridors, these are wide corridors. This is what, 10 foot? Is that what you said?
About 10, yes.
About 10 foot. Because you can have a lot of traffic going back and forth in here with all these different classrooms. It's easy in, easy out. This defines the main entrance of the church, and the office is right here. So when people come in, they go right there. Yeah. And the person in here can see if someone's coming in. So it's good visibility. And there are a lot of churches you go in today and you walk in and you say, which way do I go now? Well, it's pretty obvious. The office is right there and it's easy to find. It's easy to get into worship and out. These will be emergency exits here. Actually, I think these are going to be double doors because given the volume of people, the number of people in there. But we've got good wide corridors, adequate toilet rooms that are convenient to everything. And all of the needs that you had here have been met, okay? And what we did is meet your needs and get from...
The one plan was 13,800, and we're down to 11,690.
Oh, okay. So 11,000.
690, I think.
690,
Is that what you said?
11,690. So 138.
How big are the classroom? Classroom, 13, 20, 30.
Yes, 11,690.
So is it extra?
But no, this is just the menu.
Sorry. Right.
Social hall is 35 by 66, I believe.
34 by 65. 34 by 65.
The building perimeter is 105.
By 110.
Yeah, 105 by 110. You may want to write that down. So
Excuse me?
105 by 110.
the
Which one?
building,
Which one?
the
That's the
building,
building footprint.
Building
105
105.
by
by
110.
110. Multiply that out.
110.
Yes.
Yeah, so what do you come up with?
And then plus the vestibule.
105. 110. 11550 only.
Right.
No, that's
Plus,
not right.
plus this vestibule. You have to add the vestibule.
Which one?
This vestibule.
Oh, okay.
So that's 120.
Oh, that's 120?
11,670.
All right, so I
Plus.
got 20 feet one way or the
Okay,
other.
it's 11,670 is the total.
11,000.
Here you go. You get
270.
You get 11,670.
1670.
11,670.
Yes.
670. Okay. 6. This is 7.
Yes.
So this is 3. Okay.
We made this the
So-
access between Sanctuary and Social Hall.
I intentionally made this a solid wall. So there's no,
Oh,
so it appears that they're totally two
Yeah.
different spaces.
Soundproof, how it is.
I didn't put any doors in,
Now,
so that
we'll do whatever you want us to do, but I'm telling you,
Okay,
it
yeah.
won't go through. It won't go through permit if this is a glass wall
I see.
or if it's a removable wall, because you don't have enough parking.
apply sign. Apply sign more.
So, for parking,
Apply the thing here.
because we submit, we're gonna be like 350 sheets. They just go by that way?
They take the 350 and divide it by 3, and that means you have to have
117,
Yeah, and that's what you have.
Yeah, that one, if we use this one, the removable wall,
No,
so they,
because then this is all one room, and you have to add these two together and then divide. So then you would be looking at 70 by 100 and
옵션은 좀 밑에 내고 서로 또 손으로
105
또 나는
and multiply that. 70 by 105.
dân 걸려 가서 아니 비죠. 간게 찍찍도 거서로 마치 바꾸도 또 남대 또 마치 바꾸고 이제 힐 성이
105. 105. That's okay. So now divide that by 3.
예 맞았어요. 이 뒤에서 두 손만 삐에 또 저. 막 홍콩가라 또 배배가 그 베이더 베이더 반지 이거는 그냥 쳐. 나 또래 안 맞다 같이요. 아니
105 by 70, right?
Yeah.
Divided by 3?
길이 간중이 거 수대한 하래씩 거.
Wait a minute.
107.
yeah,
I'm
200, 2,450. This two.
divided by 7 would be the number of people you could put in there.
Yeah.
Okay, now, do it again. 105.
105 what?
65 by 110.
110 11550.
105
Right.
Right.
Then
by
this is
5 by 7.
Yeah, it's a little less.
Maybe 7. And go by 10.
Divide by 7.
12.
Divide by 7.
Divide by 7. 1,240.
Okay, divide by 3.
350.
That's how many parking spaces you need. You would need 350 parking spaces. To use this whole thing,
Yeah, no.
and you don't have it.
I think
I think they go by the members, the number of members, not
No, they don't.
no.
They use your open, when you don't have queues,
Okay.
they use the open floor area.
Okay, let me jump in. I think
Hello, lại tập trong công việc gì rồi?
thế này
Không, cái đua đây.
So computer back and copy học chơi. Zoning approval khác cần cao là học chơi.
member daw ang kalro dyan ang approach dito sa malang mga
Nala minung tum soma kan tiro kan saking lala hay sri kan ro chu atu sti lo chu a area kan ro ada removal wa ang abak nanti ni kan chu a area ni kan minung kan ro chu
Vậy
ada minung kan ro chu
chắc thế anh mà
Step down.
anh mà hal cần tu sửa hal gì
네, 알고 한 얘기는
hal cần tu sửa hal gì đi à anh nhớว่า
바뀐 가 면 원간 넘지 마. 사이 마. 바뀐 건 원간 거.
minung kan lo area kan chu chu ka ki ro siro ti chu member sa tum soma kan si chu
sa sit ka
da tu sit si sama member kan ti ko si mo
social hall seat hai sanctuary seat han fat fat so
makanan fa
너 remove able si dan fat.
area kan
remove itu sama lo
remove able si dan one way.
remove atau mana lo
You may want to look at that.
Okay, thank you.
yeah that's nice
Okay, you got a question?
Yeah, can I jump in quickly? Just a moment. Vậy khi atau saya lupa ni jumpa lawan sini kalau umi cemo. A moment please. Atau alma lu melihat hal kan tu nak solat itu dia. Saya lupa ni kan krifa atau kan hukum nak kata. Kata teka 64 by 56. Pun pikir sini ni cuak.
เสียดังเกิน
tu kan dia gini kan izah waktu. Maka ki 64 by 56 atu anak tu.
70 by 70
70 by 70 tu. Tu tika. Atu ki kemana tu nak ki karel tika jatuh thumsong apa kasi alma tu ni mo. Senai Christmas tu kan kali thumgo tu. Tu nak ki pikir tu dia le tu satu tu kan ni pun nak cicik ki 64 by 50 hi. Itu apa mau tak cuma kah? Kita lekah, sanctuary lekah, 64 by 15 sih selo. Macam kita lekah akau tu ha.
Yeah, we can move.
Social hall ka cao cái này.
Oh, social hall, hall akau. Atuan tu ni kan social hall song di situ itu artisia macam di situ. Jadi lah song di pangai nak tu so. Jadi song di tu lekah. Misalnya ya, CBC and chairman. CBC an chairman ban je ukha thate Facebook ke kahati ka ani ka 74 by 72 se pisla ba za fan na ngai ta mo ne be pi zo ban je uk CBC ka aka 74 by 72 si bi zali le som de ta se sanctuary long te ma a chun an che tak ni ke ala kala ha lo za fan na ke